How are we doing?
Very good.
Good. Come on, let's have a look around then. So we moved here with, as a sort of an accelerating team dynamics hookup about, that needs a bit of oil, with about a year or so ago now. So we've come to the best people around with team dynamics who have been in the championship for forever, with Matt Neal and his guys. And we've got a fantastic base now at Team Dynamics. So come on in, we'll have a look around. I've already got my brew, but we'll get the kettle on. Quite funny here actually as well. Over the last couple of years, Dynamics honey. So there's actually some beehives at the back of the workshop, producing Team Dynamics honey, which I actually say is really good. So yeah, I mean Matt Neal and Team Dynamics go back in the championship for years and years. You know, Matt joining it in the sort of the early 90s has been the legend of BTCC. To have Matt's insights and Matt's works and the sort of the connection there has been really interesting actually. And for me, I was a Matt Neal fan growing up, so it's been quite interesting to walk around and get to know Matt and the team and everyone a lot more. So, you know, the Matt Neal photos of old from the super touring days and stuff like that around.
This is a pinch yourself moment then when you come to work in the morning.
It is, yeah, it really is. Yeah, it really is. So Team Dynamics, the wheel business is still based from here. They've got Spider-Zone, who are the marketing side of it as well, who are based out of here. Accelerator based out of here as well. So there's sort of three entities that are all together here as well. So it's it's quite a fascinating place to walk around. So I'll show you through. I'll show you through to the workshop. Just mind that cable as you go over. So we're in early January now, so it's all in prep for the season ahead. So getting everything ready to make sure that we're going to be in the best place possible to stand the best possible chance of getting the championship won. So this is one of our Hyundai's i30Ns being built in its early stages. So I don't know which chassis this will be, but all of the components get fully stripped down, get fully rebuilt over winter. So this will be front subframes for each cars, starting to go through. We'll crack test them, we'll strength test them, and make sure they're all fine. Get fitted to the car, and the cars will now get built up over the next few months, ready to start testing. Realistically, late February, early March, and we'll start to get cracking from there. Really, so this at the minute almost feels very quiet because it's all in just prep and it's getting stuff ready. It's that classic thing of it's all the boring stage of the year when you don't feel like there's anything exciting being done, but it's all the little bits and pieces the pieces to the puzzle that get put in over the next few months to hopefully give us the best possible chance to win the championship.
Very good. And as we head over to the car then, this could be your chassis, but you don't know yet.
Possibly, yes. So everything will start to get its treatment on it. You know, all the subframes get taken through. You know, any bits of hard wiring of pumps and cables all start to get done from here as well. But yeah, they're nice things when they start to get built up from here, and you start to see all the work starting to come together from gear lever positioning to you know, where the pedals are going and all the other bits and pieces as well. So it's a really nice time to see it all start to come together, and you know, bits and pieces starting to get manufactured and made, and new components coming in for the season ahead.
So this has been taken back to bare metal then?
Yep. So these start life as a as a road car. So this may have been, I don't know which one it was. But this would have started life as a Hyundai i30N road car, and then it gets stripped back to effectively a bare lump of metal, and gets then taken off to the fabricators and gets designed and has all the components start to get fitted in. So all of the roll cage all gets designed and then gets fabricated and gets taken into the car. So the actual, funnily enough, actually the weight of the car is about the same, weirdly, as it is when it comes in, as to when it comes out. Because obviously all the bits and pieces that we take out from the soundproofing and the sound deadening all get thrown away. And obviously then the weight then gets taken back in with all of the chassis and the roll cage and all the other components that we have to get put in. So they get acid dipped, they get, there's a hell of a lot of work. It's about 1,000 hours to get them up to almost just to this stage before we then start to go racing with them as well. And this is then the fascinating part is all of this section is all part to then take the Toka component. So all of the cars have these components. So this is the front subframe. Is a rear subframe? Rear subframe's just down here. And then all of these components will be the same across all cars. So every single car on the grid will have these common components that then get taken in from then the other Toka components. So the wishbones, the uprights, the hubs, the dampers, all the bits and pieces are exactly the same across every single car. But then in terms of what you do to them is entirely up to you. So you can to a certain degree do what you want to with those settings, so long as they're within the parameters that the championship tell you they can or cannot be. So then you'll see little bits and pieces like this, just up here. This is all part of the Toka recovery system. So if you go off on track and you get stuck in the gravel, that's how they lift the cars. So they have to get welded into the chassis to allow you to pick them up. So when you'll always see in the top corners of the windscreen, we've got a windscreen on actually in a minute, you'll see the top corners of the windscreen will have two little green discs on them. So that when the recovery vehicles come in, they get screwed into that and they lift, so the whole car gets lifted through these points to get taken out of the gravel or get taken away from an accident.
Just these 2 points at the top?
Literally just these 2 points here. So they have a big bar that goes through from one side to the other, gets bolted and it lifts the car. So the positioning of these changes depending on the weight distribution of the car. So some of them will have them further down, some of them might have them further back in the roof.
Okay.
So the BMWs almost have them up here in the roof skin. And obviously the front wheel drive cars have them a little further as well. But all of this is designed. None of this is an off the peg. You just go and buy these. These all have to be designed by people. So every single part isn't there unnecessarily. It all has a purpose.
And that's where the exhaust will come out.
Yep, you got it. Nail on the head. So that'll be where the exhaust is. So they're all exit on the left-hand side. Which, interestingly, the reason the exhaust comes out on the left-hand side is because with them all being clockwise circuits, that means that when they do spit a flame, the crowd can see them who are still on the outside of the circuit.
And of course, the spectators are just as important component of motorsport as the drivers and the cars and the teams.
Exactly that. So we are still at the point where we are. We do spit flames and we do cool things. We're not going to battery power just yet. So whilst we're spitting flames, for me, that's still a cool thing to be able to do. So then, with obviously running 4 cars, there's a fair bit of bodywork to store and sort as well. So this looks like it was the bodywork, doors and components that we used from when we were testing at the end of the season at Anglesey when we announced the new Virtue partnership. So you've got the stuff that's come from my car, from the Tom Chilton car. I think that would have been from the car that Dan Zelos drove at the end of the year. So yeah, with four cars comes a lot of stuff from everything from doors to front bumpers to boot lids and everything in between. So this is the stage of the year where everything generally just looks a bit of a mess, but it's actually a very organised, it's that classic organised chaos of stuff, because there's that much stuff going on and there's that much to improve and do and to get on top of for the season ahead. And obviously the nicest part of the workshop is this thing, which is the big heater. It's nice and warm.
Yeah, definitely welcome on a cold day in January.
They're really good, they are. They're really good. So yeah, this is in the, because they're all the front, so this will be front subframes, this will be rear subframe. There's fuel tanks down here by the looks of it. Or fuel tank, not the fuel tanks, but the fuel tank covers. Switch panels. Sort of switch panels from the car. Steering column that's getting taken to bits and pieces. Hubs. Supports. Looks like over here we've got seat insert. Don't know whose that was. So you have your seat. So the seat that comes from the car, they're pretty light, don't really weigh. I mean, you can, two fingers you can pick up, so they don't really weigh a lot. They're super stiff, so there's no flex in them. But they're all a sort of a Kevlar construction. So they're absolutely bulletproof. We have these on, which look a little bit odd, but you actually put a duct on the back of those, and what you can do is when you're sat in there, you'll see there's a hole in the back of it, and it will just blow a little bit of cool air in. So you have it from a duct that then just ducts some cool air in, so it actually circulates a little bit of cold air around your back when you're in the car, which really helps. Oh. But obviously that's quite a big seat, and then what happens is they get taken down to this stage, which is then effectively a mould of your backside. So you effectively sit in a glorified bin bag and have, it's kind of like a gel and a sort of like a resin that is activated. So when you sit in it, it gets, the air gets taken out with the hoover, and the removal of the air then activates the resin, which then creates basically a mould of your bum and your back, your legs and the inside of your legs. So that would then effectively get put in there, which would then give you your seat insert. So obviously the G-forces that we experience are big. They're not quite at Formula 1 levels. They're definitely not Formula 1 levels, but you still have enough for your legs to move and stuff like that. So it's an easy way to sort of be firmly fixed into the seat and not have any movement or have any worries of, if you're involved in a crash, any movement. So everyone has, I don't know who's that actually is normally labelled on the bottom. I don't know whose that one is. And then there's another one over here, and they're sort of covered in a, don't let me forget my tea, because I'll walk away and forget my tea then. So yeah, they're weird things, and because everyone has their own style of what they like, of positioning, it's quite an easy way to change your positioning. So you can see it on the back there, they're the sort of the beads. Okay. And it's just, as it's vacuum packed, it's effectively vacuum packed. But they're soft, there's a little bit of movement in them. They're not rock solid, because you don't want them to be rock solid. You want them always to have naturally a little bit of give. So it's not like sitting on in a big lump of concrete. They've got some movement and they've got some flex, just because it's something a little bit more comfortable. But again, if you are involved in a crash, you want something that's got a little bit of give and a little bit of movement to it. But everyone has their own personal preference of what they want from a seat. Some people like a little bit more support around the lumbar, a bit more support around the back. Some people like to have a void in the back. Some people like to have that duct on the back to push a little bit of airflow through. And because everyone's completely unique, no two seats will be exactly the same for any two people. Everyone likes to be slotted down slightly back, sat up, sat off to the side. So they're quite a useful way. Now, as I say all of that, I don't use a seat insert. My personal preference is I don't like them. I'm a very claustrophobic person. I don't like them personally, but everyone has their own personal preference. I use the seat with its sort of natural, but I don't use any padding in the seat at all. So I sit on the actual base of the seat. Okay. So I'll show you over here. So I have a small bit of cushioning behind my seat. I don't think this is my seat. I have a small bit of cushioning behind my back. So I would have a seat insert back here, but then I sit on the actual base of the seat itself. So I have no cushioning under my bum at all. For the primary reason, I want to feel like I'm connected to the car. I don't want anything in between. It's like if you're trying to ride a horse. If you're riding a horse sat on a pillow, you're not going to be able to feel what's going on. I like to be as firmly connected to the car as I physically can be. So I sit on the base of the seat, which is when you don't have much of a bum and you've got a bony bum. You get cramp. Sometimes you get cramp in your left bum. Your left bum cheek, which then goes down your left leg if you sit slightly weird. So, but it's a personal preference that I've sort of grown up with over the years of what you like and kind of what you what you like and what you don't like.
And I noticed with that insert, it's I mean it's not symmetrical here down as the
so
the
you'll
back
see
of the
it'll
legs.
sit slightly one way, exactly that, and that is literally personal preference. If you actually look, you would say that I don't know whose seat it is, you would actually say it's slightly twisted off to that way, because the legs are almost coming out that way. And that's the there's not a one size fits all, not a one size fits all. And again, case in point for this one, this isn't actually a bead seat. This is it's not, but it's almost like expanding foam. Which is a lot firmer. So there's almost no give in that. So in the bead seat that we just looked at over there had a little bit of give, whereas this one's almost like an expanding foam sort of thing. It's not, but it's almost like an expanding foam. So it's a lot more solid. So again, that could go back to what I was saying earlier on about being a little bit more connected to the car. Some people like a really firm seat. Some people like something that's got a little bit more give. My preference is I'll sit on the base of the seat so I can feel it through my bum, and then have a little bit more almost cushioning through your back. So everyone has their own preference. Everyone has their own preference of seat, how they have their belts positioned. There's not sort of one size fits all policy. So at this stage of when the car's being built, that's dictated to a certain degree from where the gear lever sits, to the positioning of the pedals, to the positioning of the steering column, to everything else in between. All changes every single time. So it's it's definitely not a one size fits all policy. What else have we got? I think that's probably actually, you know what, about it for in here. There's loads going on, but there's also a lot I can't show you, unfortunately, which is very dull and very boring.
No worries. We'll go and have a look at the truck then.
Let's go have a look.